Welcome to the StockMenter.com studios here in the Black Hills of South Dakota. I'm your StockMenter Brian Johnson, making professional trading simple. And the markets, well, it kind of depends on what market you're watching. Nasdaq was up uh, pretty sharply today at 18 points. S&P up 5, Dow up 3, lagging behind the others, but that's not uncommon. So if we take a quick look, though, at the Dow, you can see it moving pretty much sideways to down. This pullback here is still bullish, just simply exactly that for the time being, just a pullback. Looking for it to maybe break up to its next wherever it goes. The other indices are starting to hit some of their newer highs. These have not quite reached it yet. So once again, still in a standby mode, waiting for whatever's supposed to happen next to happen. But we have started to kind of creep up in some of the other indices. I'm going to assume that the Dow will actually follow that. Break over 10,600 probably gives us that as well. Notice how we have broken through this trend line here. That does not mean that we're tumbling to new lows or anything. But it does mean that if we are long, we want to start to be a little bit more cautious about what to see next. Let's see if it pulls back and maybe comes back up and retests the underside of this. Lots of different scenarios here. It could blast right up and through this tomorrow. We'll just continue to watch these bigger levels. But what we saw today, this market action is bullish. It's straight up, sideways, up a little bit, down a little bit, and sideways. So this is still bullish behavior. Taking a look at it on the daily, you can see now we've put in a third candle to the sideways action, which is still a high base formation. Trying to break up and over this 10,600. It's tried now for about 3 days. We'll see if we get a final push up and over it in the next couple of days, maybe for the end of the week. It all really depends. Now these markets are they're really toppy here. But once again, this is sideways motion. This is still a potential high base. It is still potential reversal candles being put in up here. It's still anyone's guess. We just have to wait for confirmation. Break above 10,600 kind of gives us that push. I would think we'd then be able to maybe make the 10,700 plus area, somewhere up in there. 10,500 is still my area to the downside on the Dow. NASDAQ on a 60-minute holding very nicely. It has not broken its trend line. Notice how it's been able to hold above this very well the entire way. Yes, it's stretched. I don't care. Up is up. Up is up. It's moving up. So I'm still cautiously bullish. I have not changed my stance there for the entire week now. Still cautiously bullish. I'm not holding bullish positions overnight. Well, not on the indices anyway. Certainly not on the indices at all, and won't for the rest of the week. And then probably, I don't know, we'll see what happens in the next week. But if this continues in the next week, I probably won't either. Just day by day. NASDAQ on a daily, climbing up, still doing very well. No reason to think that this thing can't have a little bit more steam in it now that we've broken all these highs. Above 1900 was the area to break. That's what we're watching and waiting to see if we get on the SPX and the diamonds. NASDAQ on a weekly, heading right up towards this 1960-ish, 1970-ish area. That's our next kind of bigger level of overhead resistance. However, it is only Wednesday. We do have 2 days left, and this has not traveled all that far. Low of 1885, high of 1920. Not unheard of for the NDX to blow through 50 points in a day, 50 points in 2 days. Not that hard to believe. So we will attack this one more time tomorrow night. I don't know. Markets have just managed to trickle their way up. I don't know where this will end up for the week, but no reason to think we can't maybe slowly make our way towards this upper level. I don't know if we'll quite reach it, but certainly nothing to stop us right now. There's nothing really ahead of us except for that 1960, 1970 area. SPX on a 60-minute, holding as well onto this trend line. Not as nicely as the NDX, though. And obviously hasn't broken through it like the Dow. So once again, kind of the tweener for the SPX. It's right in between. Not as strong as the NASDAQ, not as weak as the Dow. Perfectly common to see this. But this particular trend line that we're watching, continue to watch this trend line. I'm still waiting for breaks below 1140, ultimately 1130. These are the levels I'm watching in the near future. For the bear side, yeah, getting below this would really help things out quite a bit. But the way we're moving now is still bullish. Slightly up, slightly up, slightly up. Little tiny pullbacks met by sideways action before a final, another push upwards. It's just grinding at the markets and yet still managing to make it to newer highs. Look here, coming right up on the 1150 area, just about there. Didn't quite see it today, missed by about a point and a half, point and three quarters, before we finally reach that 1150 overhead area. This is the point that, and once again, I will say this now in all fairness, from an Elliott wave perspective, this count that they've been working on, I think they've been working on this as a big two, and then they're looking for maybe a rollover and then a big three down to start. I think I'm pretty sure that's how that works. Anyway, until it actually breaks up and over this 1150-ish area, that count is still in. It's still intact. So um, we'll see if it makes it. But this is what we're watching going forward. This 1150 area obviously is our bigger overhead resistance. The Nasdaq has done it. Just watching to see if we get the SPX and the Dow to do the same now. Getting very stretched up here. I really would have figured after last Friday that if it was going to do it, it would have done it earlier in the week. And so now the chances actually kind of start to get less and less that it might end up doing it now by the end of the week just because of the action we've seen the last few days. Just very slow grind upwards, and yet it is still bullish action. Just be careful in here. SPX on a weekly, you can see us approaching that area right here. Just waiting to see if we can get up and over that 1150 like the Nasdaq did. We'll wait and look at that and the rest of the weekly charts tomorrow. Now the VIX, interesting look here. Yes, divergence here. We got the VIX going up. We got the markets going up. So we do have a divergence here. One or the other should probably give way. However, let me just point this out to you really quick that the VIX is just simply filling a gap back in here. And it's at 18. Woohoo. There's still not a lot of fear in the market. So whether or not it runs up with the market doesn't really make a difference. It is at overhead resistance right now. So no reason to get obviously bearish on this market. The VIX is moving up and the markets are moving up. Yeah, not a big deal to the markets. Not that much fear pouring in. Apple continuing to grind its way up, but look how it is really struggling with this 225 area.